Welcome to the ripple effect of love for dads and families. Welcome, welcome. I'm Christine Bernat, and I'm excited to be here with you today. As soon as I can get this off the top of the screen, here we go. And it's such a pleasure to be able to continue. Well, a pleasure. It is a pleasure to be continuing to talk about releasing grief so that we can open up to more joy. We're allowed to feel grief, and it shows up in so many different ways. Yesterday, we had Tony Lynch on. What a great guest to talk about his life story, his challenges. We all have challenges. I have a dad who reached out, said, "Yeah, that story sounds a lot like mine." Yes, there are a lot of parallels between our stories. And it's, I think, the most important part that I want you to focus on, if you will, is to know that whatever it is you're feeling right now, it's okay. It's who you are, it's what you're going through. And I want you to first take a nice deep breath. You know the drill. Tap, relax those shoulders, and exhale. Let's just get grounded in this moment so that your next 15 to 30 minutes with me will be the best part of your day, hopefully. So, sometimes when we're grieving, there are days where we're feeling amazing, and then there are or moments in the day. If you are feeling that you've been stuck in grief for a while, I highly recommend that you book a call and see how I can support you on that journey to releasing grief so that you can open up to feeling more joy. As a dad, it's important to notice how your grief comes out when you're in those grieving moments so that your children are not encasing that. Now, let me say that again. This is very, very, very important. So, when we have, for example, if it's anger, if we show up with our children already angry, the littlest things that they will do will trigger us into anger. Correct? Can you relate to that? So if it triggers you into anger, you become angry, and that anger is dumped in a way onto your child. Then your child will turn around. They might take it in, but if they are like you and are easily triggered by things, they will go and dump this anger on another sibling or on your spouse, your life partner. And is that what you really want? Of course not. Nobody wants that. Even when I was going through my really rough patch and being explosive, couldn't handle the pressure of it all. Well, I was dumping it on my kids, and my kids were dumping it on other kids, weren't they, when they got to school? Yeah, that's not what I wanted, but that's the reality of it. So that can cause us as parents to grieve, to feel grief that and feel shame and humiliation during that time, so that it's important to just take a nice deep breath in, relax our shoulders, and exhale whatever it is that we are feeling right now, and allowing ourselves to release that onto the spiraling train. Why continue carrying that grief? Why continue holding that in our lives. There's no need. So feel it, acknowledge the emotion, and then give it permission to go. Those are my important steps that I suggest when you're grieving. Sometimes this was taught to me by Gordon Neufeld, the attachment theory gentleman. And it was like, okay, teachers, because I was a teacher for 30 years, sometimes on the weekend, take a good movie that will make you cry so that you can release that pressure, so that you're not dumping your stuff onto the students, right? Teachers are human, kids are human, parents are human, dads are human. And I want you to know it's okay. However, if you're here and you're listening to this, it is now your responsibility to say, hey, what can I do differently starting today? What mini shift can I take so that I can release that? And when I release that, it creates more space for joy. I'd love for people who've been following me or just hopping on, that you share in the chat. How did it feel? Have you been able to release some grief? And did something new come on? Sometimes our children will come home and they're grumpy and they're angry, and we wonder why. They don't always want to tell us. Sometimes they're a bit ashamed of what happened, or they don't dare say that someone else sent their photo around because we, as a parent, had told them not to do that, right? Have you ever told, or did your parents tell you not to do something and you did it anyway? Did you run back to your parent and tell them, I did this and now there's all these problems happening? Of course not. Maybe some of us did, some of us didn't, and it's okay. So how do you support your child in a way that they feel they can come and talk to you? Something super simple that you can do is every night before they go to bed, do the snap, tap, and zap with them so they can release it, even if they don't want to talk to you. You might be surprised what they might share while they're doing the Snap Tap Zap with you. And it's important, super important, that you be doing it as well, so that so that you don't get triggered by what they're telling you. Yeah, because things do happen. And unfortunately, sometimes we just want to strangle that little kid that did that to our beautiful child. And is that really going to solve anything? No, it isn't. So when we self-regulate, give ourselves some self-love, and tune into our inner wisdom so that we can use that to answer our child. And sometimes if you don't know what to say and they've shared something, you can ask, how do you feel right now about it? And if they're feeling okay and they're like, yeah, I feel like I feel good. I'm ready to go to bed. Excellent. Go ahead. You can ask, do you need a hug? Right? That's how you can show them love. And it shows you self-love as well. And it depends the age of our children. When they get to older ages, they don't want a hug, but they might be willing to do the high five. Might be willing to, I don't know, just see what's age appropriate for your child. So taking in another beautiful deep breath, just to stay present, stay in this moment, and see if there's more grief that needs to come out. Because if we're in go, go, go mode, we will not feel it. And grief can have trauma around it. Whether it's the small t trauma or the big T trauma, there can be trauma around it, depending on what the situation is, what's going on, right? So I have found in my life that when something happens and it's traumatic for my brain, how my brain interprets it, right? Because each person's brain will interpret things differently. And it's honoring how your brain interprets it. So when my brain interprets it as trauma, it's important that I be aware, in my case anyway, that there's all these fragments. It breaks parts of me apart. So what I mean by that is that there's a part of me that's going to say, oh, Christine, you're the adult, you're responsible, you don't have time to grieve this, you know, go, 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 let's get this done, this needs to be done. There's a part that might be sad, disappointed. There's another part that might be angry, frustrated, want to punch the living daylights out of someone. Use a pillow. It's safer for everyone concerned. But as well, if you're self-regulating, and the quicker you can do this after the event, or if you can do it during the event, for example, someone who loses their spouse. So I accompanied a dad who wasn't able to go into the room with his spouse, who was given 3 weeks to live. And they had only known for 2 weeks. So it was very sudden, very aggressive disease. And so I just showed him how to do the Snap Tap Zap. And I helped him understand that his spouse just needed him to be there, loving him. But his fear of losing her was so big, and it's normal. It is totally normal. But as he self-regulated, and I said, well, you can just rub her legs, you know, give her some love by rubbing her legs. Her legs were sore. And he did that, and it calmed him down too, to be doing something for her. Then he was able to ask her, can I get you anything? And she said, yes, I'd love, a heating pad for my legs. They're so cold. So he went and got her a heating pad. And the next day he was able to come into the room on his own, self-regulating, crying, yes, and being present, holding her hand while she passed away. And for that, he's very grateful, because he was able to be present. So whatever your loved ones are going through, or you are going through, maybe you're the one that needs to find someone to hold your hand lovingly, to give you, or to just listen. Listening is the pot of gold. I read this story a long time ago. It's this grandpa that's on the porch. And this little child just comes and sits beside him and doesn't say anything. Just sat there. And, you just breathe, you look around. And after 20 minutes, the child leaves. And the grandpa says, thank you. All he wanted was a little bit of company. Sometimes we're not ready to talk about what we're going through. And we need to have a space where we can just have company, prevents our spiraling brain to go into too much negativity. And it just feels good to have someone there with us, doesn't it? Yeah, so remember that. And when you go and support someone, you can ask them, do you need me to just be here? Do you need a hug? Do you need to talk it out? Whatever's right for them is what will be best in that moment for them, right? So, another nice deep breath in and exhaling, because sometimes we feel powerless when we have someone we love that's grieving. And maybe they just want someone in the room with them and they don't need anything else because they're not ready to share. And that's okay. And our children are the same. And our children kind of need us, I believe anyway. Don't take my word for it. But I believe our children need to see us going through the grieving process and to understand that it's okay to laugh again and be joyful again. But it's also okay to be sad again, over and over again. In this day and age where there's so many divorces, there's a lot of grieving for the children when children want their parents to stay together, or children believe they're the cause of their parents' divorce. That's a big one. So, having that time, even though things are super busy with our kids, to just listen to them so that we can be there and hold that loving space for them. So I have a dad showing up today to share. So here we go. Let's bring him up. Christian Mendez, dad of 4. Welcome back. I, you're not looking at the camera. I don't know if you're super busy doing something else. Yeah, double.
Nope,
Oh,
self-regulation. No, no, self-regulation. I
self-regulation. Way to
just
go. Way to go.
uh, just popped out of another event where the conversation became triggering, and for me to take control back and to release the tension and or frustration. It used to be anger, but um, fighting fighting dark with dark. There's really nothing there, and so
Exactly. So I just want to pause on that. Fighting dark with dark, anger with anger, um,
hate with hate.
frustration with frustration,
Yeah,
disappointment with
yeah,
disappointment. Where are you going to get bigger disappointment,
that's
bigger
it.
anger, bigger? And is that what you really want? Of course not. That's not what we wake up in the morning and say, I want to live more frustration, anger today when I'm going through my day. So I love that you have that super awareness because that becomes a superpower for us.
It does. It really does.
And how does that become a superpower for us, Christian?
In every single aspect, in every sense of the word.
Yeah.
You know, one of the one of the things that I have found is, and we've talked about this before, that superhero has that revelation in the movies, in the story, the climax of the story.
Yes.
There's a lot of opposition. There's a lot of challenges.
Yes.
And they don't just go, I'm angry and I'm just kind of. They they find that reflection. They find that
Mm,
calm. They
mm,
strategize.
mm,
See, and we can strategize with our kiddos, but we have to strategize with ourselves before we strategize with our kiddos.
And
We
just
have to,
pause there,
yeah,
just pause there because that's super important. With ourselves first. Because if we show up with all that anger that we just got, I was talking about this earlier today. If we just show up, you felt what was the emotion you felt in the meeting you were at?
frustrating. Yeah,
Frustration.
frustrating.
So there was
Yeah.
frustration meets frustration creates more frustration. So how do you disconnect from that frustration? Don't and not dump it onto your kiddos, right? Onto your teens. They don't need our frustration. They've got enough of their own. So we self regulate so that we can show up more grounded and put that frustration on the spiraling train, on the hot air balloon. You've got those two different ways of doing it, or the incinerator.
And so, whatever works for you folks, but just release it. Take the time, breathe, and if you're not there yet, that's okay. Just baby steps, crawling. It took you months to crawl, months
Yeah.
to walk,
Yeah.
months to speak, months, maybe years
Yes.
to for your main or native language, let alone other languages if you're fortunate enough to.
Mhm.
Again, we equate it back to the ABCs of love, the ABCs of ourselves.
Yeah.
And those frustrations, I want to just quickly say, you may not. I'm not frustrated. I just got to get things done. It's not. There's. I'm
Okay, I
listen.
hear the
I'm not.
frustration.
I'm not
I hear
angry.
it.
I'm not angry. I just know that my boss is asking me for this. And Johnny, I told you to get over here now.
Yeah. That's
That
a perfect example.
that's it.
Yeah.
It does not connect. Why? Our brains as adults
Yeah.
should and have a processor a little bit different. So when you speak out loud because of something that is being told to you and you're feeling some sort of way, and then you just kind of release it to little one, um,
Yeah.
they don't know. Wait, why did mommy? Why did daddy? Like, why was I shouted at? Like, what did I do?
Yeah.
And so I say that because listen, and how you start feeling and you start the self-reflecting, you're
Yes.
going to start coming into those thoughts and feelings that may be yucky that you no longer want to, and you didn't really pay attention to that when you say certain things or you act a certain way. Those are the feelings that come up.
Yes.
Those are the feelings and emotions we communicate,
Yeah.
whether it's to our partners, to our coworkers, or to our
Yeah.
kiddos, or whomever is in our environment. So going back to, I know people aren't always going to agree or even think in the same manner as I do. We have principles and we have different thought processes. And just because somebody else has a what seems to me as an ignorant thought about a general idea, it's not okay for me to say and to think or to act like, well,
Mhm.
you're just that ignorant.
And because I want to get to the why that isn't, it's not that you're to punish yourself or you're to question yourself. It's about we are each and every single one of us on a journey. We are individuals, we are different. And because we are different, it is what makes us who we are. And at some point, when I was a neurotic mom and wasn't even aware of it, right? So we all have beliefs and ways of being that now, part of me is a bit sad and I have regret. And because as I was saying, there are different parts of us because of these different emotions. And when I'm ready and I'm sitting down, I can just say, okay, now we're taking care of you, Christine,
Mhm.
and that part of you that's got the regret, and that part of you that's sad, and that part of you that's afraid of this or afraid of that. And it's okay that everybody has different opinions, but how much time are you spending with people who do not align with you?
Pause. There's why I was in self-regulation instead of going, man, that is ignorant. I did think it, and I'm allowed to feel the way because it does not align with my way of thinking.
Mhm.
However, instead of thinking that way, or I'm sorry, instead of mulling on it or even allowing it to, we talked about that spicy. I say, hey, you like this flavor, you like this spice, that may be for you, but
Yeah.
that's not for me. Now,
Yes.
we listen to understand. So then, listening to understand
Mhm.
and how I can better communicate and to equip myself along with my kiddos because we're going to meet ignorant people along the ways,
Always.
or we may come across people that may think ignorantly, maybe not ignorant people, but think ignorantly based on their journey. So I say, that is your journey. I can only try to understand that you were hurt when you were this age or this experience or that experience. And I'm sorry, but that's not how it is. And that's why I say when you generalize things,
Yeah.
it's and it's okay for idea purposes, for explanational purposes, but again, we go back to is that's enough.
Mhm.
I've released it, so I can put that down and say, this is not for me. This is not my cup of tea. This is not for me. And so here you go.
Yeah. And when you do that, and then you show up for your children, do you have enough space to allow joy in and play with your children?
Well, simple. One of the biggest beautiful parts about, and this is training that I do with my sales reps, is this is again why we say self-regulate now, but also is have those happy thoughts. So can you jump and laugh and jumping jacks are joyous and be sad at the same time? If you can jump up and joyous and be fun and be sad at the same time, well, you can try that. But again, if you're full of love and full of joy and gratitude, I'm not saying that things are not going to come across, but you have more of the good stuff
Yes.
to, let's say, liquefy some of that negativity. So we pour and mix in some of the negativity, but we tend to, or we can dilute it with some of the negativity, but the overwhelming positiveness, which allows me to regain and to maintain the control. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Huge difference in what used to be. Because again, and we talked about this, climbing the ladders, a lot of you successful folks climb that ladder. Well, I did that. Now I'm gonna go to school, climb back down. And oh, as a matter of fact, Tony was mentioning that yesterday. I've done these certifications and then I went back to this and then I went up here and then I went. So
Yes.
we climb different ladders and we're at different rings and different ladders in life, and that's okay. With that, folks, I thank you so much and we'll see you guys soon.
Yes, we will see you wrapping up because I have an appointment as well. And I want to be mindful of our time. Yesterday we went way over. And what's one fun thing you wish you had more time for? And it can be releasing. For me, it has become fun because once I release, I feel so much better inside and I can enjoy the next hour or the rest of the day. So, on that note, if you would like support, book a call and we'll see how I can support you in your journey to release what you no longer need, the stress, everything that's causing you that stress, or parts of it, of course, and so that you can step more into your own joy, personal joy. So keep enjoying the ripple effect of love. And if you know any dads that would love listening to this live, please pass it along to them. Feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And wishing you a great day. Um, just keep doing the best you can. And I will see you tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow is Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 hour later, because I need to bring my dad to the ophthalmologist. Woo, that was